Okay, so Bismillah Rahman Rahim. I am Zahur Islam, and today I will teach you about the basic chemistry of lipids. So, lipid can be defined as these are the organic compounds composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. So, if we compare the carbohydrate, lipids, vitamins, and all kinds of nutrients. It may be micronutrients or it may be macronutrients, so they are different from one another on the basis of your chemistry. So here, lipids basically this is the group of nitrogenous group of compound related to fatty acids, or it can be defined as these are the organic compounds. These are the organic compounds composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Or another way, so it can be defined as these are the ester of glycerol and fatty acids. So when glycerol and fatty acids, so they are grouped together, so it form lipids. Lipid is a class of conjugated molecule which consists of, as we have discussed, that the building blocks of proteins, they are amino acids. So here the building blocks of lipid, these are fatty acids. So the combination of these are the ester of glycerol and fatty acids. Uh, What are the basic properties of lipids? The term lipid is derived from a Greek word. So Greek word, the term lipid is derived from a Greek word lipos, mean pads. They are highly or greasy organic substances. They are non-polar and they are insoluble in water. Look at here. So these are basically lipids. This is the class of non-polar compounds and they are not soluble in water. So you can say this is called lipids. But they are soluble in organic solvents such as ether, chloroform, benzene, acetones, and alcohols. They are hydrophobic in nature, mean they are water repellent, so it cannot be dissolved in waters. This is the simple classification of lipids. Lipids are classified into four different types, which are the following: that is simple lipid, complex lipid, compound lipids, and derived lipids. So first of all, I am going to define the simple lipids. So simple lipids, actually these are the ester of fatty acid with glycerol. So mean when fatty acid and glycerol they are mixed, so it form what? Simple lipids. Simple lipid is further classified into two categories. The first one is fat and oils. Now how we can differentiate between fats, oils, and waxes? Fats and oils, these are the ester of fatty acid and glycerols. It means these are the building blocks. These are the basic frameworks. Without the presence of fatty acids and glycerols, the existence of lipids is not possible. How we can differentiate between? So look at here. The difference between fats and oil is physicals. So fats are actually these are solid at room temperature and oil is liquid at room temperature. So this is the main difference through which we can differentiate between fats and oil. So fats are solid at room temperature. So the room temperature is varying from 25 to 30 degrees centigrade, and oil is liquid at room temperature. For example, triglyceride. So triglyceride here, look at here, the triglyceride, it contains three fatty acids plus glycerol. And here waxes can be defined as waxes, these are the ester of long chain unsaturated fatty acid with alcohol other than glycerol. So waxes, actually these are the ester of long unsaturated fatty acids. and which further the saturation is possible. So as we have discussed about alkane, alkene and alkyne, that these are saturated hydrocarbons which cannot be saturated further because the bonding situation, in alkane there is a single bond, while in alkene there is double bond. So you can say that alkene and alkyne, these are unsaturated. So here unsaturated fatty acid, this is the classical example of, you can say, just like alkenes and alkynes. So it can be further saturated with alcohol in other than glycerols. It form a waterproof layer on the surface of some plant pot and reduce the water loss. Wicks are also responsible. It form a waterproof layer on the surface of some plant pot and reduce the water loss. So that's why they are hydrophobic in nature. Now look at here. These are the compound or complex lipids. So now how we can, I'm going to define the compound or complex lipid. These are the ester or fatty acid with alcohol other than group like phosphate, carbohydrate or protein based on group attached to the lipid. They are classified as. So these are the compound or complex lipids which consist of fatty acid, as well as, you can say, alcohol, other group like phosphate, carbohydrate or proteins. But these are the conjugated group of compound having high molecular weight and based on the group attached to the lipids. The compound lipid, the first one is phospholipid. Now what is phospholipid? So phospholipid can be defined as they are composed of fatty acid, alcohol and phosphate group attached to the nitrogen group. For example, lecithin is the best example of phospholipids. So in real sense, phospholipid is basically that complex lipid which consists of and with the lipid is directly attached to the phosphate group, but there may be other essential compounds like fatty acids, alcohol, phosphate group that is attached to the nitrogen group, and for example that is lecithins. While the second one is glycolipid. Now what is glycolipid? So glycolipid, it is the type of complex lipid which consists of carbohydrates, you can say carbohydrates and lipids, and with the fatty acids. And here look at here, they are composed of what? So they are composed of fatty acids, alcohol, sphingosines, and you can say carbohydrate group attached to it. For example, cerebrosides. These are the good example of glycolipids, while they are also called glycosphingolipids. These are also called what? You can say also called glycosphingolipids. While the third one is lipoprotein. So lipoprotein is that type of conjugated, or you can say complex lipid which composed of lipid and protein is attached to it. For example, HDL, high density lipoprotein, low density lipoprotein and very low density lipoprotein. These are the examples, so it must be mentioned after each and every lipid. This is the third type of derived lipids. These are the derivatives of hydrolysis of simple and compound lipids which possess the characteristics of lipids. These includes fatty acids, sterol and carotenoids. So it means that derived lipids basically these are the lipids which can be obtained after doing hydrolysis of simple and compound lipids. So when the simple and compound lipid, they are hydrolyzed, so the products which are obtained, that is said to be in the form of derived lipids, which include fatty acids, sterols and carotenoids. So these are the derived lipids. Now I'm going to discuss the basic chemistry of the lipid. As we have discussed, that lipid or the organic compound, and they are mainly formed from the combination of alcohol and fatty acid. So look at here, lipid or the organic compound formed mainly from alcohol and fatty acid combines together by ester linkage. It means that there must be the presence of alcohol and fatty acid through which they can join together by ester linkage. So look at here, this is the chemistry of lipid. This is the, you can say, this is the formula. This is the, you can say, the chemical formula of the fatty acid, which contains or alkyl group and hydroxyl group and CH2. So there's on one side there is hydroxyl group, while on the left side alkyl group is it is called fatty alcohol. Fatty alcohol. So this is the formula, fatty alcohol. So when the fatty alcohol, so when they are fused, when they are conjugated with the fatty acid, so this is the formula, fatty acid, and which here, look at here, this is hydroxyl group, and this is what here is, this is also, you can say, hydroxyl group. So they are attached on the opposite side of one another. Here the carbon, they are so directly attached to the oxygen. Here is a double bond. So here there is a single bond between carbon and you can say alkyl group. So after that you can say after that these are, you can say, these are the reactants which are converted into when the fatty alcohol and fatty acids, so they are conjugate to each other in the presence of enzyme which is called esterase, or you can say life phase, with the release of water molecules. So water molecules, so they are released and they are liberated. So here the ester is formed. You can say this is the chemical formula. This is basically lipids. These are the high molecular weight compounds. So look at here. So this is what you can say. This is R alkyl group, and this is CH2, oxygen and carbon double bond with oxygen and uh, this is the basic chemistry of lipids. Further, inshallah, we will discuss the other groups like fatty acid, inshallah, in the next lecture.